Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hey everyone, as we have discussed, we need to have two lists here, list 1 and list 2. Each list will comprise of definite number of symbols and there should be only one symbol in common between these two lists. As we discussed, we'll be taking alphabets as symbols here. So I'll be using a particular string here that is called string.ascii_letters. Since this is from string library, we'll be importing string here. Let me print it and show you. So as you can see here, we have lowercase and uppercase letters in this particular string. We have A to Z we have A to Z in lowercase and A to Z in uppercase. Let me zoom it so that you can see it properly. You see here we have A to Z in lowercase letters and A to Z in uppercase letters. I'll be using this particular string for symbols. I'll have a symbols list here. Since this is a string, I'll just convert this particular string to list. Symbols is equal to list string dot ASCII_letters. So we have our symbols here. Now we need to generate two more lists. I'll call them card 1 and card 2. I'll initialize it also. So we'll be having only 5 symbols in each card because I've initialized the list to 5 elements, to 5 zeros. So first of all, I need to find the position of the same symbol in card 1 as well as in card 2. So I'll have two variables here. First is POS1, that will be the same symbol position in card 1. And next one will be POS2, that will be the same symbol position in card 2. So I'll have random dot rand int. It will be from 0 to 5. It will generate random numbers 0, 1, 2, 3. Same way we can have POS2, that will be the same symbol position in card 2. So we'll have random dot rand int from 0 to 5. Okay, I'll write here also POS1 and POS2 are the same symbol positions in card 1 and card 2 respectively. So we are done with the positions. Okay, so next what we'll be doing here is we'll be having a character named same symbol, and I'll just randomly choose it from our list, that is symbols. If you need to choose from the list, you can use random dot choice. As we are using random, we should import random here too. So we are done with the cards, we are done with the same symbol. Now we need to append the same symbol in card 1 as well as card 2. Okay. So I'll have here if POS1 is equal to POS2, then card 2 POS1 is card 2 PS2 or PS1, whatever you want to take, you can take, since they are equal, will be equal to same symbol, same with card 1. POS1 is equal to same symbol. If they are not equal, then we need to take care of some things here. So concentrate. We'll have card 1, POS1 as same symbol as we discussed earlier, and in card 2 at position 2 we'll have the same symbol. But at position 1 in card 2 we'll have another symbol. We'll have card 1, position 2 we'll have another symbol, so we need to again randomly choose it from our list symbols. Random dot choice symbols. And similarly for card 2 at position 1 we'll have random dot choice symbols. Aren't we doing something wrong here? Because if we are choosing from the same list, even card 1 and card 2 may have the same symbol. So we should remove this same symbol from the list symbols. So I'll just simply write symbols dot remove same symbol. Please note the fact why I'm doing this here, because we don't want same symbol to repeat in card 1 and card 2. So what we will do here, we will just remove the same symbol from the list symbols. Even we don't want repetitions in the same card. We don't want the same symbols to repeat in same card. So we also need to remove the other symbols that we are choosing for card 1 and card 2. So I'll just write here symbols dot remove card 1 POS2, and here also symbols dot remove card 2 POS1. So we are done with position 1 and position 2. We are also done with this particular symbols that will be there in card 1 and card 2 at POS1 and POS2. So what about the remaining positions? Apart from POS1 and POS2, we'll also be appending some symbols there which are not similar, obviously. So let us do that. For that I'll have a while loop here. I'll initialize a variable I while I is less than 5. Okay. We need to take care of this fact in mind that position 1 and position 2 shouldn't be here. So while I is not equal to POS1 and I is not equal to POS2, only then this while loop will execute. So I'll have two more characters here, alphabet 1 and alphabet 2. So I'll write random dot choice from symbols. As and always, we should also remove this alphabet from symbols. So I'll remove this alphabet. Symbols dot remove alphabet 1. And for card 2, we'll have alphabet 2. That is random dot choice symbols dot remove alphabet 2. So we are done with generating alphabet 1 as well as alphabet 2. So next we need to append this in card 1 and card 2. In card 1 at ith position append alphabet 1. In card 2, at ith position, append alphabet 2. So we are also done with the remaining positions. Also increment this I. So we are done with POS1, POS2, the same symbol as well as the remaining positions. So let me check whether the cards that are the desired cards are showing up or not. So we'll just print card 1 and card 2 so as to check whether our code is working fine or not. Okay, let me check. What is common here is SS. Okay, let me check again. There is some error, list assignment index out of range, card 1 POS1. So let me check that. We need to print POS1 and POS2 here. So as to check whether it is taking the correct POS. It's 4-3, it is correct. 1-1, it's correct. 4-3 is correct. 3-1 is correct. Yes, we have an error here. It is taking 1 and 5 also. So we'll just generate from 0 to 4. Now it's fine. So please note the fact that if we'll generate random numbers, random integers from 0 to 5, then it can also generate 5. For example, it can generate from 0 to 5, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5. So it'll just generate it from 0 to 5, 0 to 4, because in list we have assignments from 0 till 4. Okay, so we'll generate the random integers from 0 to 4. We'll write the range here as 0, 4. Please note this fact here. So we are done with the cards. Now, since the player is playing this game, we should also let him know that whether he has won or not. So I'll just write, we'll just input a particular symbol here. So ch input, ask the user to spot the similar symbol. Okay, if ch is equal to same symbol, then you just write print right, else print wrong. So let us try to run this. So we have to spot the similar symbol, it is M here. Yes, again run this. We have to spot the similar symbol, and that is R. Again run. Similar symbol here is, it is difficult to find, it is O. Okay, so this is how we can play double game through Python. And I may have been wrong before, but please note the fact in mind that if we generate random integers from a particular range, for example, if we write from 0 to 5, then it can also generate 5. It can also generate 0. That means it can generate 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The both ends are inclusive. So we'll just write 0, 4 because we need to have list assignment from 0 to 4. Okay, please note this fact in mind because we were wrong at this, and otherwise the code is working fine. I hope you enjoyed this programming screencast. Happy learning!
Guys, you know I share my birthday with Sachin Tendulkar. I feel so lucky. I think it's very rare for two people to share the same birth date. Is that so? Let us find out.
Let me take the list of my friends, 8 of my friends, namely Rishi, Yayati, Varsha, Anamika, Akriti, Vidya, Amit and Simran. I go to all these 8 people and ask them, what is your day of birth? By day I mean Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Right? They all will give me their respective answers, hoping that they know their day of birth. All of us know, in fact. They all will give their answers, but one thing is for sure, that 2 people here would be born on the same day. When I asked them, I noticed that this was the answer, and you see that there are 2 people born on the same day, as you can see. This is like stating the obvious. You take 8 people and you ask them, what is your day of birth? What is your day of birth? A person can be born in one of these 7 days. When you take 8 people, definitely, for sure, you will find 2 people with the same day of birth. Now, let me do some other experiment. Let me go on the roads and ask people randomly their DDMM. By this I mean their day of birth and month of birth, DD stroke MM. Let me ask a few people and see if I find 2 people who were born on the same DDMM. Now, if I were to do this experiment, do you think one can guarantee me of a repetition if I go and talk to 40 people? Maybe not. Look at the previous example. If I take 8 people, for sure 2 people will be born on the same day. But if I ask them DDMM, there are 365 possibilities, 366 possibilities if you include the leap year. Unless I have more than this number, assume I had some 400 people, then I know some 2 people will have the same DDMM. If I take less than 365, can I guarantee? Maybe not. But I will challenge you all that if you go on the roadside and stop 40 people who are going by and ask them their DDMM, in 40 or 50 counts, you will definitely see 2 people with the same DDMM. If you don't believe me, come, let's go and conduct this exercise and then check whether what I am saying is right or not.
We just now saw the professor talk about birthday paradox. Do you share your birthday with someone else? Let's check in the crowd. Can I please know your birthday and month?
Yeah, it's 18 December.
15 July 1991.
15 July. Okay, thank you.
Birthday is 15 January. 16 November of 1994.
21st August.
My birthday is on 15th of January.
My birthday falls on 15 June.
We have Professor Abhinav sir with us. So may I please know your birthday and month?
So it's 11th of December.
Hi ma'am. Can I please know your birthday and month?
1st of December. 19 Jan.
Yeah, it's 14th August.
22nd April.
It's 5th January. 5th October.
31st August. 31st August. Thank you.
20th November. Sure, it's 23rd July.
4th Jan. 15th July. 18th July.
18th September.
From 20 July. 21st December.
Yeah, it's 26th November.
13th March. February 20. 24th August. 3rd August. 14th of July.
22nd September.
13 March. 6th December. 8th December. June 29.
23 May.
27 June.
15 March.
24th August.
21st April.
It's 15th August.
17th September.
8 April.
Yeah, 11th June and 1998.
21st December 1997.
1st January.
10 July.
8th October.
5th October.
Okay, thank you.
As you know, we collected the birth dates of some 50 people. And guess what? We don't need 366 people to encounter a collision. Actually, we encountered a collision in a sample of 9 people. So, let us try to simulate this paradox using a program. Before we get into the details of the program, let me give you a brief introduction of the program for birthday paradox. For birthday paradox, we'll be generating the birth dates randomly. I repeat, we'll be generating the birth dates randomly and we'll not fetch it from the data. We'll only generate the birth dates randomly. So now the question arises, how can we generate birth dates randomly? So birth date will be generated according to the birth month. As you know, some months comprise of 31 days and some months comprise of 30 days. So we have January, March, May, July, August, October and December. They comprise of 31 days. We have April, June, September, November. They comprise of 30 days. So birth date will be generated according to the birth month. As we are generating only birth date, we are not concerned about the birth year. Yes, we are not concerned about the birth year. We will be only generating the date and the month. That's it. So there is an exception here. As you know, February has 28 days or 29 days. If the given year is a leap year, then February has 29 days, else February has 28 days. So how can we determine that a given year is a leap year or not? So our question becomes that for a leap year, most of the years that can be divided by 4 are leap years. You know this fact. But there is an exception here also. Century years I mean like 500, 600, 1000, 1600, 1700, these are the century years. Century years are not leap years unless they are divided by 400. That means if we have 1700, it is divided by 4, but it is not a leap year because this is a century year, okay? And but if we have 1600, it is divided by 400, okay? That means 1600 is a century year as well as leap year. So I repeat, most of the years that can be divided by 4 are leap years, but there is an exception here. Century years are not leap years unless they are divided by 400. Yes, unless they are divided by 400. So now I'll show you the pseudocode of how to determine whether a given year is a leap year or not. So we have, first of all, we'll check if the given year is divisible by 400, then it is definitely a leap year. Else, if it is divisible by 100, then it is not a leap year. I repeat, if it is divisible by 100, then it is not a leap year, okay? Else, if the year is divisible by 4, then it is a leap year. And rest of the cases, the given year is not a leap year. So we'll go through the pseudocode again. First of all, you have to check whether the year is divisible by 400 or not. If it is divisible by 400, then it is a leap year. Else, if the year is divisible by 100, that means it is not a leap year. Else, if year is divisible by 4, then it is definitely a leap year. Else, for rest of the cases, the given year is not a leap year. So first of all, let me try to code this particular function, this particular thing of how to determine whether the given year is a leap year or not. So let us do that. So I'll just open Anaconda Spider and try to code this. So first of all, let me start with how to determine whether a given year is a leap year or not. So I'll just generate here randomly, or you can also make the user input that particular year. So I'll just generate it randomly. I hope you know the random library. We have already explained it. For example, I take the year from 93 to 2018. Okay. As we are using random, we should import random here too. Next is we have to write the pseudocode here, not the pseudocode, the proper code according to the pseudocode. So let us do that. I'll use if here. So first of all, I'll say if year percent 4 is equal to 0, okay, and year percent 100 is not equal to 0, then I'll use or here, or year percent 400 is equal to 0. This is according to the pseudocode that I just now explained. I'll repeat it again. Century years, the years that are divisible by 4 are leap years, but there is an exception here. Century years are not leap years unless they are divided by 400. This is the pseudocode that we are using here. So after that, what I'll do is, we have generated the year randomly and we have also written the if condition for the year. If this condition satisfies, that means you have to print given year is a leap year, okay, else you have to print given year is not a leap year. So we are done with the program for leap year. So let us try to run it. I'll just write leap.py. Given a year is not a leap year. So let me try to print the value of year also, so that we can get to know that whether the given year is actually leap year or not, or whether our program is working fine or not. So let us check that. 2016, given a year is a leap year. Yes, you can see that 2016 is divisible by 4 and it is also not a century year, so it is a leap year. Let me try to run it again. We have 2018. Yes, 2018 is not a leap year. Again, so let me try to zoom it so that you can also see. Here we have 2005. Yes, the given year is not a leap year. Again, 2003, it is not a leap year again. 2016, yes, this is a leap year. Again, 2011, it is not a leap year. 2001, not a leap year. So this is how we can code the leap year thing. So let us move ahead and try to understand the nitty-gritties of the program for birthday paradox. So now that we are done with the leap year code, I hope you understood that code. So let us move ahead. Okay. Here, what we are trying to do here is, now we have to write a pseudocode to generate the birth dates randomly. Okay, so as I said, different months comprise of different number of days. So we have to take care of all the months and we have to generate the days accordingly. So we have here, if the given month is February and year is a leap year, then we have to generate the day randomly from 1 to 29. If the month is February and the year is a leap year, then we have to generate the day randomly from 1 to 29. If the month is February and the year is not a leap year, then we have to generate the day randomly from 1 to 28. Yes, we have to generate the day randomly from 1 to 28. Then if the month divides by 2, okay, we have months numbered from 1 to 12, okay, and if it divides by 2, that means, and the month is less than 7, that means the month is either April or June, okay, then we have to generate the day randomly from 1 to 30. January, February, March, April and June, okay. So this is it for the month that is less than 7. Now, if the month divides by 2 and the month is greater than 7, what we are referring here? We are referring to the months August, October and December. Then we have to generate the day randomly from 1 to 31. Okay. Now, if the month doesn't divide by 2 and it is less than or equal to 7, here we are referring to January, March, May or July. These months comprise of 31 days. Yes, these months comprise of 31 days. Now the last condition is left, and that is if the month doesn't divide by 2 and the month is greater than 7, then we have to generate the day randomly from 1 to 30. We are referring September and November here. We are referring September and November here. Please note the fact that we are not checking the condition for February here, since we have checked it at the first place. Since we have checked the condition for February at the first place, we don't need to check it again. So we'll start with February, because February is an exception here. We have either 28 days or 29 days in February. After that we are done with February, then we can take into account the months that comprise of either 30 days or 31 days. So I repeat here, first of all you have to check whether the month is February and the given year is a leap year or not. Okay, if the given year is leap year, then you have to generate the day randomly from 1 to 29. Otherwise you have to generate the day randomly from 1 to 28. After that, you have to take into account the months that comprise of either 30 days or 31 days. If the month is divisible by 2 and it is less than 7, then you have to generate the day randomly from 1 to 30. If the month is divisible by 2 and the month is greater than 7, then you have to generate the day randomly from 1 to 31. If it is not divisible by 2 and it is less than or equal to 7, that means we are also referring July here. You have to generate the day randomly from 1 to 31. And the last case, if it is not divisible by 2 and it is greater than 7, then you have to generate the day randomly from 1 to 30. This is how we are going to proceed in the program. You will get to know more about it when we will write a program about birthday paradox.
Welcome to the programming screencast of Birthday Paradox. First of all, let us take the birth dates of some 50 people and try to find out the collisions. Here we will be generating the birth dates of these 50 people randomly. In order to generate the birth dates randomly, we'll import a library here, and that is called random. Let us take the birthday array or list. Now, as we have to generate the birth dates of 50 people, we'll have a while loop here. I is equal to 0 while I is less than 50. First of all, let us generate the year randomly. Year is equal to random dot randint. Randint is the function that is used to generate the integers randomly. You also need to specify the range in the function randint. Here I'll specify from 1895 to 2017. Why I particularly chose 1895? Because the oldest person ever lived was 122 years old. So if you subtract 122 from 2017, you will get 1895. That's why we chose 1895. I'm writing here. The oldest person ever lived was 122 years old. Now we have to check whether this particular year is leap year or not. Why do we have to check whether this particular year is leap year or not? Because in order to generate a particular day, we have to check that the particular year is a leap year or not. Because in the month of February, in a leap year, we have 29 days. Otherwise, in the month of February, we have 28 days. So we will also check that the given year is a leap year or not. In order to check whether the given year, the randomly generated year is a leap year or not, we'll have if here. If year %4 is equal to 0 and year %100 shouldn't be equal to 0, or we can just say that year %400 is equal to 0. We'll have a variable here leap. This is equal to 1 if the condition satisfies, else this is equal to 0. Now let us generate the month randomly. For month, we'll use the function randint again. Month is equal to random dot randint. What will be the range here? It will be from 1 to 12. Now we are done with generating year and month randomly. Let us proceed towards day. Now let us generate the day randomly. In order to generate the days randomly, we'll have a nested if-else loop here. For a nested if-else loop, we'll have if month is equal to 2 and the given year is a leap year. What do I mean by this? Is this that the month is February and the given year is a leap year. So we will generate the day from 1 to 29. That will be random.randint from 1 to 29. Else if month is equal to 2 and leap is equal to 0. If the month is February but the given year is not a leap year, so we'll have day is equal to random.randint as 1 to 28. Next we have to check. Please note that the 7th month and the 8th month, they both have 31 days. So we'll have to hard code this too. So we'll have here if month is equal to 7 or month is equal to 8, we'll generate days from 1 to 31. Next, we have to keep the fact in mind if month %2 is not equal to 0 and the month is less than 7, so we will generate the days from 1 to 31. You can easily figure this out. Please note the fact, you can easily figure this out. Why I am writing so? Because if the given month is an odd numbered month and month is also less than 7, then we can say that we will have to generate the days from 1 to 31. Next condition, and if it is greater than 7, that is the next condition. For that, the given month will be an even numbered month. Month 2 is equal to 0, and month is greater than 7 and it is less than 12 too. So we'll have here day is equal to random dot rand int 1 to 31. We have specified the conditions for 28, 29, 31. So the rest of the month will obviously comprise of 30 days. So we'll just have else day is equal to random dot rand int from 1 to 30. This is done. So we have now the birth date of these 50 people. Please note the fact. Please note this fact in mind that we don't have it in a specified format. We need to have it in a specified format. In order to do that, I'll import a library here, a separate library here, that is date time. Next, we have to convert it into a particular format. So I'll use the function of datetime, that is datetime dot date, and I can specify the format here. In the round braces, we'll have year, month, day. This is the format that I'm following. You can follow any other format, but I'm following year, month, day. Then we have day of year. Why do we need to find the day of year? As the professor explained in the lecture, that we will only consider the DDMM. This is self-explanatory. If you want to find out the collisions in the birth dates, you need to only consider the DDMM of different people. So we have the DDMM of different people, but we need to generate the day of the year. If we will generate the particular day that a person is born on, then we can find out the collisions very easily. For example, if I am born on 2nd January 93, that means I am born on 2nd day of the year. In the same way, we will generate the days of year of these 50 people and try to find out the collisions. In order to get the day of year, we'll just use a simple function here. Please concentrate. We have dd, that is date in a particular format, dot time tuple dot tm y day. This is the function that will straight away give you the date of year. Okay, if you want to code it, you can also code it. This will be a good practice for you, but for simplicity's sake, we'll only use the function here. Now we'll increment the I variable so that while loop can proceed, and we'll also append this particular day of year to the list birthday. Append it, day of year. It is done. Next, sort this particular list. When this particular list is ready, just sort this. What is sorting? Sorting is basically arranging the elements in ascending or descending order. Since we are using the function sort here, it will arrange the elements in ascending order. You can always code it. This will be good exercise for you guys, but for simplicity's sake, we'll use the function sort here. Now we are done with the code. We just want to print this particular array so that we can get to know the collisions. it will be easy on our mind to find out the collisions if the array is sorted. That's why we are sorting the array. Just print birthday I and increment this while loop. I think we are done with the program. So now let us try to run this program. See, we have a list of birth dates here, particularly the day of year. If you want to find out the collision, let us have a look at the output. We have 15, 15, 1 collision here. We have 104, 104, the second collision. 204, 204, that is the third collision here. I don't think we have any another collision here. So we have 3 collisions in this list of 30 people. We can always increase the number of people here and we'll get more collisions. Now let us try to run this again. If we run this again, we have 48, 48, 1 collision, 72, 72, second collision, 188, 188, third collision. I don't think so any another. 283, 283, fourth collision. So you can always increase the number of people and try to find out the collisions. The collisions will increase, and you can rerun the loop, rerun this program again and again. You can have different number of collisions too. So this program clearly illustrates the presence of birthday paradox. I hope this program was useful for you guys and you enjoyed this programming screencast. See you till the next programming screencast. Thank you.
Now that we are done with the program of birthday paradox, you must remember we used a library named DateTimeUnit. So let me try to explore this library and show you what else can we do with library DateTime. DateTime library can be used to display even today's date. So how can you do that? You just write DateTime dot date dot today with round braces. So it will display the today's date, the current date. Okay, you can even segregate the date in terms of year, month and day. For that, what you need to do is, I'll just write. For that, you just need to write dot strf time. In round braces, you have to specify what do you want to display. I need to display only years, so I'll just write %y. So it is 2018. If I want to display the month, you just write B, capital B. So it has displayed the current month. And if I write D, it will display the day. So it is 31st. Okay. So it can be used to display many other things also. So I'll just go through them. First of all, if you want to display the week number of the year, how can you display that? So I'll just write so that you also keep a track of what we are doing. Week number of the month. How can you do that? You just write date time again dot date dot today dot strf time, and in round braces you just write capital W, capital W. So week number of the month is 22. I repeat, week number of the month is 22. So after this, what can we do? After that, if you want to display weekday of the week, So you need to write, what do you need to write? I'll again write week, day of the week. Again you have to write date time dot date dot today dot strf time, and in that you write small w, percent small w, and press enter. So weekday of the week is 4. Okay, that's how you can use the date time library. There are other things through which you can also use. I'll show you 1 or 2 examples more. First is if you want to display the day of year. Okay, how can you do that? Print day of year. For that again you have to write date time dot date dot today dot strf time, and in bracket you write percent small j. So let us press enter and show day of year is 151. After that, if you want to display the day of the month and day of week, that is also possible. That is, you can also do that. So I'll just show you how you can do the day of week. Okay, so let us do day of week. For that you just need to write, first of all write here day of week. Yes, and how can you do that? What do you need to change here? You need to write percent %a, capital A, that will display day of week. So day of week is Thursday. It is actually Thursday today. So this is how you can use the datetime library. You can also use it to display the current time. How can you do that? I'll just show you. You just write datetime, again datetime dot now. So it displays the date, current time. First of all it will display the date, then it will display hours, minutes, seconds. This is how it works. Datetime dot now, it displays the current time. I hope this datetime library exploration is useful to you guys. Happy learning.